Aries are known for being positive, upbeat, and playful with explosive tempers, which is a lot to try and fit in a 64-tile house, but I tried my best. Starting by giving the house a bit of an interesting shape, or at least one a bit more interesting than a simple box, which is what I usually do. We don't talk about what I usually do. Of course, a less than standard house shape means less than standard roofing, and the tile limit meant that I couldn't just use some half walls like I wanted to, leading to some hear me out moments that I definitely should not have heard out. Like, I know what I was thinking here, trying to find some other way to put in walls without having them count towards the tile count, but wow, is this triangle thing I tried here not it. Failures help figure out what not to do though, so it's not all bad, but unfortunately for your viewing experience, when I'm thinking about a build, I press the camera movement buttons a lot, like a lot, so I hope you don't mind the camera spasms. Said thinking did allow me to remember that debug exists, and therefore the answer to all of my problems is in the form of a bush barrier for the balcony area. If you know anything about Aries, you probably know that their color is red. Thankfully for my sanity, red brick doesn't look half bad as the paneling for my house. Also thankfully for my sanity, black accents help give the red brick a more refined, I guess you would call it, look, making the window and doors a lot easier to pick out. Not that I actually put in all of the windows and doors immediately. Who do you think I am? On the interior, I put a ladder for getting to the top because this is a tiny home and stairs take up far too much space. I then proceeded to overthink the walls and flooring to the point where it's honestly kind of impressive. The amount of overthinking, that is, not the actual options I was considering, because full disclosure, I had no idea what I was doing at this point in time. Eventually, I say frick it, put in an accent wall, and move on to the bathroom, in which I switch from red with black accents to black with red accents. Real creative, I know. When putting in the clutter, I put in 2 soaps because, you know, Aries are known for being impulsive, and you know when you see something at the store that you did not come there to buy but you end up with anyway? Yeah, that's how one ends up with 2 different soaps. I tried to make a cabinet with some custom clutter in it before giving up and moving and using a pre-cluttered shelf, because 1, I could not find any fitting clutter, and 2, moving the shelf back and forth in order to put the clutter off the grid seems like a lot of effort I did not want to put in at that point in time. Also, the time-lapse legs out for a couple of seconds. Technology loves me, and I love questionable bath mat options. I don't know how well the rug I chose fits with the room, but it's what I ended up using, so yell at me in the comments if you want, but it is what it is. We're back in the main room now, where I decided to make each wall a different color because Aries are known for positive vibes. What's more positive than a bunch of different colors? Nothing. That's what. I used the same logic for my kitchen counter selection, though light blue could be a bit more fire signy, and then I remembered that houses need to have windows, so I used these black, curved, modernish ones. I don't know what this style of building, architecture, whatever you call it, is called, but I like it. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed camera spasms, because half of me figuring out the interior was me spinning the camera around in circles, and the other half was me trying and failing to figure out some smart way to arrange the kitchen to save space and still have a functioning kitchen. I failed, like the professional I very obviously am. For the living room section / seating area, I once again went with more colorful furniture because, you know, vibes, and I made sure to put in a speaker because apparently Aries can be found organizing quote-unquote vibrant get-togethers, and what's more fun than a dance party? I also put in a set of books for a bookcase because reading is important. I then squished the dining room table in behind the couch with some comfy-looking chairs and put up a painting before remembering again that windows exist. And after putting up said windows, I had to get rid of the painting. I put in a door to what will be the backyard, and then I encountered the fact, or more like problem, that the windows I decided to use just do not go with any curtains at all. So obviously that means it's time to once again run away from my problems and work on designing the front patio. And when I say design the front patio, I mean figure out what I'm going to use as its bricks / flooring / pathing / whatever you want to call it. After going through basically every brick-esque flooring swatch in the game, I eventually decided on making a gravel path to the front door and using that spray brush. Wow, am I failing at words right now. The spray brush for the patio as well. I smooth out the spray a little bit because it was looking a bit wonky, and of course there's not a point in having a patio if you don't have somewhere to sit on said patio. So I pick out a nice wooden bench that fits the scheme we have going on for the outside of the house, and then I try and pick out different decorations that sort of look like they could have been designed or DIY'd during some sort of friend gathering the Aries living in this house would have organized. Then I once again put in some more windows, as one does, and at this point I was feeling like the outside of the house was kind of plain, and I wanted to find a way to put in some more black accents to kind of break up the amount of bricks there are, hence the pillars and trim. It did occur to me that adding the trim could be seen as kind of going against Aries' whole outgoing nature. Like, if we really lean into symbolism here, it could kind of be seen as like boxes or fences to like keep them and their personality contained, which obviously doesn't fit with Aries at all, but I decided that I liked how it looked, so we're going with it and ignoring any potential symbolism there. Back inside, I put in a game table, for more of those get-togethers the Aries organize, and then I move on to the second floor, which is the bedroom, and I decided that the Aries who lives here is slightly self-aware, so they have blue walls for the bedroom, to try and keep them calm and manage their explosive temper, since blue is calming. I did still put in a red accent wall though, because why not? I once again tried to use furniture that looks like the Aries could have DIY'd up a bit with themselves and a couple of their friends. Not sure how successful I was with that, and since this is a bedroom, I kind of had to figure out the curtain situation, which I did manage to figure out / pull off half decently using a lot of oranges and red accents and whatnot. Then I turned to the balcony area, and once again, leaning to the Aries that lives here is mildly self-aware, I followed the advice of the website article I used to research the Aries zodiac sign, and gave them an athletic and creative outlet for the anger, because what better way to work out your frustrations than punching something? And painting. Paint your enemies and then burn them, the paintings that is. I also added a cheer practice mat, half for funsies, and half because I don't have the pack that adds yoga stuff. Anyways, moving on to working on the backyard / back patio, where I figured the Aries would probably want more space to hang out with friends and stuff, maybe throw a pool party, so I put in a hot tub and a little lounge area, and this is an area where I did actually worry about symbolism a little bit, and I tried not to make anything fully enclosed, to give the Aries personality room to spill out a bit, though I did put some half walls around the hot tub to help make it look less awkward. Speaking of awkward, figuring out how far I wanted the tiling to go for the patio was a pain. Anyways, I then started working on the actual yard, and honestly, I'm not entirely certain what to say about this. Like, it's a yard. I put in a tree with some grass and stuff, yippee and all that. Plus a crap ton more camera spasms, for fun and profit, all good things. After an excessive amount of camera spasms, I decided that I didn't like the texture of the yard, specifically the weird brown and yellow spots, so I went through and switched up the brown spots for flowers and stuff. Really not more to say about it than that, I don't think so, at least. After putting down the flower sprays, I took a plain grass spray and kind of blended them with the rest of the yard, and then I turned to putting in more plants. I wanted to avoid using flower boxes and stuff, leaning more into that sort of overflowing personality thing, and I also tried to stick with red, orange, and yellow flowers to stay within the color scheme. I also tried to keep from putting the plants in too neat of rows, because like I said, overflowing personality. Other than that, I really don't have any commentary on, placing plants. It's placing plants. My game does freeze up a little bit though, so that's fun, I guess. After filling in 2 sides of the house with plants, I end up stopping for the day and continuing to build the next, which is technically the 3rd day I worked on this build. I just didn't mention the whole it's the next day now thing earlier. So I have to re-enter the building cheats, which is always fun. And then I put in the flowers on the other side of the house as well, nothing new to say about that. There's more camera spasms as I think about what else to add, yada yada yada. I put in some vine things to add a bit more green to the front, put in some orange flowers as a bit of path border, change out the mailbox, and we're done!